So I'm sure that not many of you have heard about this, but apparently yesterday the Super Bowl was taking place. I mean, didn't even know about this, so I'm sure it's the same for you. And I usually don't pay attention to sporting events, but the halftime show is something that interests me. If there's any commercials afterwards that are entertaining or interesting to me, video game announcement or something, I'll watch it afterwards. And I heard that the halftime show, according to Charlie Kirk, was extremely, extremely problematic. And he is actually saying that something that bad, something that risque, shouldn't be on television. So here's what he wrote about the halftime show. The NFL is now the league of sexual anarchy. This halftime show should not be allowed on television. So he is explicitly calling for censorship over the halftime show. Now, I just watched the halftime show in preparation for this segment. I didn't tune in live, and I have no idea what he's talking about. The halftime show was incredible, first and foremost. Seeing all of these hip-hop and R&B legends from my teenage years, it brought me pure joy. It made me actually feel happiness, which I didn't think was possible given how cold and dead my heart was. But it was incredible. It was just 15 minutes of pure bliss. And I don't understand what in particular he finds so offensive. The sexual anarchy comment makes no sense because at most we see legs, but it wasn't risque even in the slightest bit. I mean, compared to other halftime shows, I'd argue that those were probably more sexual, but I mean, this is on television, so you know that there's not going to be anything too overly sexual. Sure, though, sex sells, so they'll put it in there to an extent. But this halftime show was not like that. But yet, he says that this is essentially sexual anarchy, and it's so bad it shouldn't be allowed on television. What halftime show did you watch, Charlie Kirk? Did we watch the same one? Were you tuning into something different? Because this was not bad at all. In fact, it was incredible. This was an enjoyable experience, but because you are, a pearl-clutching Puritan, you can't enjoy it. You freak out, oh my God, a leg. We have to ban it. I mean, what a fucking dork. Now, you know that he's out of line because even other conservatives chimed in and were shitting on him. And before we get to the responses, which were hilarious, the internet just shredded him for this, rightfully so. Even Candace Owens had the same opinion that I had on this. She writes, "This is an excellent Super Bowl halftime performance, undeniable hip-hop and R&B excellence." And I never thought that I'd say this, but I agree unequivocally with Candace Owens. We're basically the same age, so we probably grew up on the same music. And yeah, I agree. Just love it. Hip-hop, was what I grew up on. I saw Snoop Dogg in concert when I was a teenager. I love this music. Every song that they played, it gave me like chills down the back of my neck. I fucking loved it so much. So for him to just not sit back and enjoy it and be the one person perhaps out of everyone watching it who's just sitting there seething and so angry because he spotted a leg, shut the fuck up, Charlie Kirk, you goddamn insufferable prick. Now, these moments are really important. I think that, you might see this story and think that it's not necessarily very substantive, and you'd be correct. But these moments are so important because for years now, conservatives have tried to rebrand themselves as the ones who are, they're the more subculture, they're counterculture. They don't like that the left gets too triggered by everything, but here they are clutching their pearls because there were some legs displayed on television. It's truly, you have to take these moments and you have to throw it in their faces. But let's see what the internet said because their response was great. So Anthony Fantano responded saying, "Sexual anarchy sounds good to me." Totally agree. Brian Tyler Cohen Googled how old he is, and I didn't even realize this, but he's only 28 years old. Yet he has the mindset of a 94-year-old conservative. I mean, David Packman chimes in saying, "Are you 6 years old?" HD Retrovision shared one of his own pictures, and I don't even know if this is real because so many of these have been memed, but it says, "Just because you are offended doesn't mean you're right." But, apparently when it comes to Charlie Kirk, if he's offended, then, ban it. I don't like it, ban it. I'm offended. I saw a leg. Don't like that. Gravel Institute chimed in saying, "Conservatives seem to get offended by everything these days." Exactly. Farron Cousins says, "Charlie and his wife will not be pushing their beds together for Valentine's Day." Even fellow conservative Frank Lutz dogged on him, saying, "Did someone change the channel on Charlie's TV during the halftime show?" Yeah, even conservatives think that Charlie Kirk is being a little bit too ridiculous here. And this is supposedly a thought leader for conservatives. This is supposed to be the core representative of conservative young people. But yet, He's clutching his pearls because he saw a little bit too much skin. I mean, again, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It wasn't bad at all. It was a great performance. And so, Charlie, just shut the fuck up. Let us have this. Let us enjoy this. If a moment on television is so special that both myself and Candace Owens are in agreement that it was excellent, shut the fuck up. Stop being a little pearl-clutching Puritan. Nobody cares about your opinion. Just keep it to yourself, okay? We're not going to censor this from television because you find it offensive. If you don't like it, change the channel, you goddamn snowflake. So easily triggered. And again, like, the thing that's really perplexing to me is that I don't know what triggered him specifically. I don't know. Maybe he was just a little bit offended that there were too many black people on the screen. I mean, that's obviously speculative. It's a bit of a straw man, of course. He specifically, pointed out the sexual anarchy, but that wasn't there. It was not a very sexual thing. So I don't know. But for him to get offended at this, I love it. I love this. Save this tweet. If you've seen this, screenshot it on your phone, and whenever conservatives talk about the left being a little bit too easily offended, too triggered by things, they're too censorious, throw this tweet in their faces. Throw this in their faces, because this is not anything new, right? They're just trying to rebrand themselves, but substantively, conservatives haven't changed over the years. They've always been the Puritans. They've always been the authoritarian little pricks who call for censorship. And because they have that reputation, well, they're trying to rebrand the left, students on college campuses as the ones who are too censorious. And sure, it's not like they're perfect as well. The left sometimes does, I think, go a little bit too extreme with regard to their responses to things that they find offensive. We're all human beings, right? Nobody's perfect. But for, this side who has spent lots of money trying to rebrand on marketing, trying to be the new edgy counterculture. And, they don't care about your feelings. Fuck your feelings. For him to freak out over the Super Bowl halftime show, which was pretty wholesome, it's just, you love it. You love to see it. It's a cell phone, essentially, at this point. So, Charlie Kirk, shut the fuck up, you absolute dweeb. Just enjoy it, okay? Try to enjoy something. Try to extract some sort of enjoyment out of something in life, and maybe you won't be such a miserable bastard. I don't know.
When you acting like a